Hello and welcome to another Delboy's 8-bit gaming years. Um, Now, I believe that we've all been on a journey when it comes to our retro gaming. I know I've been on one. And from the very first video game that we played and was mesmerized, we've had a hunger to play more and more of these games. And as we've played these games, they've become more and more complex, more and more graphical finesse, more and more musical fidelity in these games. But I'll never forget the early years, and I've chosen a game today that really I played initially on my very first color computer, which was the Commodore Vic20. But it's a bit more convoluted for this particular game because this game I played around an American friend's house. He was an Air Force guy who lived next door, and he happened to have a Commodore VIC-20 at the same time as I did. Um, and the only way that I could play this game was when I moved up to the next Commodore machine, which was the Commodore 64, because I never actually saw it released in this country. So, what game am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about a game called Mountain King. Um, and like I say, the story of this game is that you're an explorer and you're searching a diamond mine, and the temple of the ancient civilization. Now, this mountain, it's made up of platforms and ladders, uh, and you're searching for the perpetual flame. This perpetual flame needs to be taken to um, the civilization chamber, which is in the middle of the mountain, where you steal the crown and take it to the summit to win the game. Now, that all sounds absolutely wonderful, and you would think, talking about the years that I was playing computer game around this time, that that's quite a complex game. It's actually fairly simple. So the tasks in this one really are to collect 1,000 points, which then gives you the ability to look for the flame. You locate the flame with a torch. So you basically are searching around in the darkness for a ghost like image of a flame. When you take the flame, you then need to find the temple and the entrance to the temple, where there will be a crown. Once you drop the flame on the ground, you can pick up the crown and you then have to exit the mountain as fast as you possibly can and take it to the summit of the mountain and present the crown to the flame on the summit. The difficulty here will be that of several things. The first one will be that you're up against a time limit. The second one is that right at the bottom of this mountain there is a spider. If you get caught with the spider, he will wrap you in webbing. If you do not get out of the webbing by waggling the joystick a little bit, um, he will come back and eat you. The third one is touching the flame without actually picking up the perpetual flame. So you will die if you touch the flame before you've got the key. The annoyances in this game will be that once you've got the crown, bats suddenly fly around the mountain. And if they touch you, they take the crown away, and you have to search for the crown again with the torchlight. There are little extras in this in regards to the fact that um, there are treasure chests, which you can only see again with the torchlight. They only give you points, they don't aid you in your quest. That's the game. And I remember back when I had my VIC-20 that I really wanted to play this. But unfortunately, Mountain King was only released on several machines, and I think it was CBS Electronics in the States that tried to find a British um, distributor, but only managed to find one it for the Commodore 64 release. I believe it was never released really in PAL format, which is our video format in England, other than on the Commodore 64. I couldn't find a PAL version for the Atari, so I believe that is true. The British distributor was Beyond, and Beyond as a company did expand itself into making its own games later on and became quite a force on the Commodore 64. So, just going to change to my images now, just to give you a sense of what you're going to be getting into, because I have very, very fond memories of this game. And I'll present you with image one, which is the box art for the Vic20 version. Now, I remember that box art uh, on my American friend's machine. I thought it was very, very colourful. He had it on cartridge, but I believe even then he explained to me that it wouldn't work on my British machine. Although I never got to try it, I believe that would be true. Um, and I put some information for you on the right hand side on who programmed it, what it was released, and we're going to go over now quite what machines this was available for. So, I'm going to show you what the VIC-20 version looked at. And to be quite honest, the VIC-20 is the mid version of all of these in the fact that it was really designed for the Atari VCS or 2600, whichever you want to call it that. And if anybody has ever played on an Atari VCS system, you'll know it's quite simplistic in its graphics. It's not the most fantastic machine when it comes to displaying graphics on screen or scrolling the screen or displaying thousands of colors, but it does it in a very good way, and you can understand why it was the brand leader for many years. Um, the VIC-20 version is probably the next one up. Some would say the Coleco version slightly pips it, but I'll let you make your own choice on that. So the VIC-20 version is the version you're going to see. I've displayed a couple of screens. The main title screen is really just a pointer to what key starts off the game, um, giving you who programmed it, the year, and the title of the game. The rest of the screenshots there is a picture of you searching around the mountain for the flame, and the last picture is where the ancient civilization temple is, where you steal the crown. So that's the VIC-20 version. On the left-hand side now, you'll see what the Atari 2600 looks like, and you can see that it's much more sparse. But basically, the mechanics are exactly the same. At the same time as the Atari 2600 was being developed, the Atari 5200 and the Atari 8-bit versions were produced. And those are much more complex. You now have grass growing outside the mountain. The diamonds shimmer slightly in yellow. The ladders are easy to make out, and the scrolling is much smoother. Um, and then we'll take you to the last screen because there weren't that many more machines. The Coleco vision is less colourful but equally as smooth and audible. It's almost identical. Um, when it gets to the Commodore 64, they changed things slightly. You'll see that the man is no longer a stick man. He seems to be more filled in and defined. Uh, The scrolling is nice to a point. When I played this on the Commodore 64 back in the day, I don't remember seeing that many glitches. Unfortunately, through emulation, there does seem to be some slight glitching when you're jumping diagonally, but it's not something that's really terribly in the way and ruins your enjoyment. And then, to be quite honest, because this game is so long ago, I could only really find one review, which was in a magazine called Softline. As you can see, it was very late, 1983, that this review came out. I believe that the Atari versions came out a little sooner, but IGN, as a retrospective, decided to go back to this game and review all of them, and thought the game was very, very good. A nice use of sound, a nice use of the torch, a complexity that you wouldn't normally see in games around this era for such low-end machines as the Vic20 and the Atari 2600. And overall, they gave it an 8. So overall, even in the modern era, the game is considered to be pretty good. So now we're going to see some pretty bad play from me. I'm going to do my very best to find the flame, steal the crown, and take it to the flame. And therefore, I'm going to take you now to the main game screen. Turn the volume up. And we'll see if I can do anything in this game. So press F7. Here we go. So as you can see, I've got to get 1,000 points, which is picking up these diamonds. You jump by going diagonally, which is a bit of a pain and a headache at first. Now, so I might be going totally past where the actual flame is, but generally the flame is a little bit lower down. So all I'm doing here is just picking up as many of these diamonds as I can. And there we are. Now you'll notice that when I go past diamonds now, there is no shrill. That is because I am now looking for the flame. And the flame is found with the torch, like this, and by an audible musical cue, which is Hall of the Mountain King, which is from Peer Gynt. It's a classical piece of tune. So as I get closer to the flame, I will hear that soundtrack. So now we're just trying to find that tune. There we are. So can you hear the tune? And then if I move away, the tune cuts out. The closer I am to it, the louder it is. And if I shine the light, you can see there's the flame. So I need to go over the flame and push down. And I now pick up the key to the temple. Now you don't want to be on that bottom level too long because the spiders will get you. The bats you'll see now will steal the crown if I don't get up out of the mountain fast enough. So I press down, and you can see the. Unfortunately, took it away. So I've got to find the crown again. Terrible. That's the first mistake I've made. Ah, there it is. I've got it. Okay, so now I've got to be very careful and try and get this crown. There we go. And now I need to get out as fast as I can without the bats touching me. And if they touch me, they take the crown away. There you are. So you can see the hindrance that the bats are. So now I've got to try and find the crown again. Probably going to be higher up now. Oh, this one's being a real pain. Looks like it's up there. There it is. Got it. And then the ladder. Got the crown. Very tricky to get under the crown with modern controllers. You'll tend to find it's much better with a joystick. There we got it. No. Oh. So you're probably wondering why I have fond memories of it when these bats are doing what they've just done just there. Of course, when they take things away, they take the score away. Remember, I need 1,000. I'll move around till the sound goes away. I do like the little animation on the guy. Remember, this is a very early machine in color computer history with the Vic20. There we go. Now we need to hear that tune again. There's a treasure chest, which I've got. There it is. Those bats, they're terrible. No! You swine! I've only ever actually got this done a few times since I've played this game under emulation, but back in the day, when I had a proper Vic20 and I was playing this like daily, I actually managed to do these levels quite quickly. It's amazing how muscle memory does help, and you do get quite far in this modern, as you get older. But my God, this now seems so difficult. So now we've got to try and find the flame again. Oh. Up there. There it is. No! Swine. Get more diamonds again. Of course, the more I keep getting this up, the higher I have to keep going back up to get the diamonds to 1,000 again. Oh. Nearly at the top. Wish I could only do that with the crown. There we are. So, really do need to get it this time. We've got not many more minutes left. Oh. Very close to here. There it is. Got it. Oh. If you don't put it directly underneath there and it's slightly to the side, you can walk off and lose it. Okay, one more attempt, and then I might show you what the spiders look like. Because I'm not doing very well, and I've got a funny feeling I'm not going to win on this game. Oh. We go all the way up here just to get some diamonds. Oh. Very difficult to jump up under those small platforms. You really do need a run up. Oh. I'm running out of time. There. There's the tune. There it is. No! I was goner then. Yeah, directly under this one. Got it. Yes. Ah. I either lost the time or I hit the flame. And that pretty much is the game. So we'll just round up now. So this is a very, very early game in 1983, and it was on one of the very first color computers that I ever got on the VIC-20. But I had immense fun playing this back in the day. It was almost like I was Indiana Jones trying to find hidden treasure and steal it. And to be quite honest, the graphics were not that bad that my imagination didn't need to fill in the blanks too much. I was so happy that I was able to play a British version of this game on the Commodore 64, and I've recently looked back at it, and to be quite honest, it's not too bad. It's definitely worth a look. A classic, then? No. A game that's enjoyable and worth taking a look at? I believe so. Yes. So this is a little bit different to the other 8-bit games that I've done so far, in that I'm not shouting its praises and telling you what a classic it is, and that it set off a genre, but definitely a game worthy of attention. And with that, I look forward to doing another 8-bit game in the future, and I hope you'll join me on the next one. And thank you so much. Happy gaming. Goodbye.